Significant changes are happening across our state and our nation as we work to recover from a global pandemic and keep up with an ever-changing economy. A lot of this work is being done at the local level in our communities to promote tourism, ensure jobs for the future, and make Kentucky a great place to live and work. And this new series for The Bottom Line will be highlighting the ideas and the innovation being utilized by local leaders to push their communities forward. Let's talk about what's going on in Manchester. You know, we've spent the day today. We're in the museum right now. Right. Fantastic museum. A lot of history here, but we've spent a lot of today talking about the future of Manchester. You guys have a lot of big plans and a lot of different people coming together to accomplish those plans. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, I think most people are aware of the plight of Eastern Kentucky. We were a coal-based minerals economy, and that's totally changed in the last 10, 12 years. So we looked. Local leadership came together, some business people, myself, some respective interested parties that you've seen here today in the Historical Society about, along with the city and county officials, what do we do to change the dynamic here? And we put together a substantial amount of money and have been working with SOAR, which has been a big project of Congressman Rogers, to micro-focus on what we call changing the narrative, creating some opportunities, expanding employment, looking at health care, looking at our drug problems, looking about re-entry into the workforce after you've had some drug problems, being and dealing with second chance employers, those things that can really change your economy. But with that, changing the narrative and cleaning up the physical look of our town to make it aesthetically better to come to. And so we have been pretty successful in creating jobs during COVID and have some really good opportunities to infuse a lot of money into this area to change the physical look and overall change the total narrative.
Absolutely. And like you said, it is kind of all encompassing. You're really healing the community with the partnerships you have with VOA and some of the other things, but then also building for the future of what you want this community to look like, right?
Right. And you're very much on point with the healthcare community, talking about everything from dentistry to our hospital to substance use disorder. We're working on that, but we're also knowledgeable of the fact that we have to be gig certified to have broadband capacity, that we have to develop remote workplaces for people to compete in this now, what has become an international labor market. Plus expanding the capacities and the networks for our currently existing businesses to work with other businesses to be suppliers of product. Again, all of that works together in changing the image, healing the community, and looking forward to tomorrow.
And speaking of healthcare, across the street from the building we're in right now, I know that you have some plans for that building over there, but we also visited the hospital today, who is a big employer, but then also you guys are partnering with U of L, doing some dentistry work right. in the town. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, when you look at, again, the area and realm of substance use disorder, you see a big need because the detrimental effect on your teeth. And so we have partnered with the University of Louisville, Redbird Clinic, their students, Dr. Collins, who is our dentist there, working with the various groups to raise awareness of oral health, because that's where a lot of your health starts. And so we've done that in addition to all the other things with the hospital and substance use disorder, really making a push and to try to raise that awareness. And we hope it has a substantial impact.
Obviously nothing happens overnight, but it seems like you guys have a lot of energy behind these efforts. So what does the timeline look like for this downtown area and the projects that you all have going on here? And what still needs to be done?
Oh, there's plenty still to be done. And, you know, we're talking to a lot of different entities about, you know, everything from restaurants to businesses to expanding the footprint of our current businesses. We're waiting to see what dollars through state and federal grants that we have applications out for, but feel pretty confident we'll get. So we'll take that, and you don't eat an apple all at once. You have to take bites. So we think we have a few really good first bites. We get this done with a farmer's market, a remote workplace, aesthetically change the downtown. We're also doing some focus on some tourism. We know that is not a single silver bullet component, but it is a serious component to making this more viable economic entity. So we kind of have our first phase, which it's really all close to coming together. And hopefully the next 4, 5, 6 months, we will have some pretty good announcements. And then you'll actually start seeing physical change. You don't necessarily see that person going to work, but people will know that there are jobs here, but then you will actually start seeing the physical change of some buildings being renovated or torn down or modified.
And I mean, a lot of what you're talking about deals with housing too. Do you expect some expansion in real estate and things like that too, especially if you want people to come to Manchester?
We've looked at this because a lot of people love the ecotourism, the adventure tourism. You saw some guys today who were showing pictures of walleye and muskie being caught and talking about how it's so prevalent in our rivers now with smallmouth bass and red eye. So, all that is coming together to make this work. But I'm going to go back to your other question. We think some things are going to happen. You'll start seeing it. But this is probably a 2 to 3 year process to really see everything to kind of come to fruition and then hopefully be self-perpetuating. And that, I think, the fruits of our labor, the seeds that we've sowed and being able to harvest it will really start coming together this fall.
Anything else you want people to know about what's going on here in Manchester and Clay County?
Well, I want to give a lot of credit to many different people because the group with Shaping Our Appalachian Region has been really good about bringing people in to micro focus instead of a macro focus. And individuals like you've seen here, Mike White and his wife and all the volunteers that have really created a very interesting historical society that has received all types of awards, to what we call the Stay in Clay group. And you heard about how these different entities were meeting, how we create for tourism a 30-spot RV site with a large grassy field with a lot of hiking areas. All of these entities have been coming to weekly, monthly, bi-monthly meetings, and People's Rural Telephone, Jackson Energy, all trying to participate because we know that we have to change the trajectory, our economic trajectory here. And it's a very holistic approach. And I can't say enough for all the people, local leaders, local volunteers, which are all equally important to making this come together and work.